All right, welcome to another episode of Real Estate vs. Technology. I'm your host, Norman Kinsey. We have our co-host, Mr. Dan Gandy. Welcome, Dan.
Glad to be here.
Awesome. Thank you for being here today. And we have someone on the show today that we've been trying to nail down for quite a while. She only gave us, she gave us a couple minutes today, but 3 days before she goes to her next trip, she is the Traveling Realtor. If you know who she is, Amanda Williams. She's top 1% at EXP. She is all over the place traveling, and she's teaching real estate professionals how to have passive income from Airbnbs and be able to world travel. So Amanda, welcome to Real Estate vs. Technology. I'm excited to have you here today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys. Excited to be here.
Of course. So the show's all about you and your business for our viewers and listeners to be able to take something from our episodes and they potentially could apply it to their business or reach out to you. They love what they hear today. So let's get started off from the beginning. So how long have you been in the real estate industry? What made you get into this industry? And I'm sure now things have kind of changed from where you first began to where you're at today. And we'll get into that in today's episode.
Yeah, definitely. So I actually started studying real estate investing back in 2006.
Okay.
And then I stuck my toe in right before the market crashed and I lost all my money, the development deal. And then after that, I waited a couple of years and started, I pretty much, I had a good job. I don't like to say a lot about it, but I had a really good job. I made really good money.
Yeah.
And so I became a private money lender. So that was my second attempt at getting into real estate investing.
Wow.
And I did that for a few years and it was perfect for me just because I traveled 5 days a week. So I was really never in town to actually go see the properties that we were flipping or anything like that. So I did that for a few years. And then in 2013, I moved back to North Carolina. I was in California when I was doing that.
Okay.
And then I went back to NC and I wanted just to invest in real estate. So started flipping and then decided to get my real estate license because I didn't want to pay a realtor to list my houses. And at the time, I could actually buy homes off of MLS that I could flip. So it actually worked very well.
Wow.
And so that's how I got involved.
That's awesome. So North Carolina, was that home base growing up as far as going through, high school and all that?
Yeah, I was in North Carolina until I was 21. And then I moved out to Los Angeles by myself, didn't know anyone, chasing a dream. And stayed there for 9 beautiful years and then went back home in 2013.
Wow, that's awesome. So it sounds like, because you're with EXP, I'm sure you probably would get into building the downline and what that looks like for you as well. So traditionally, buy side, sell side, is that not even something that you do, or do you also still transact?
So I've been traveling since September of 2019.
Wow.
So I have not personally done a transaction since then.
Wow.
However, I generate all of the leads. So I'm sure we'll get into it, but I run a short-term and mid-term rental business back in Raleigh. We have 15 properties.
Nice.
And so I've pivoted that business since COVID to be able to use that as a lead generation source where I market that business to places like Washington State and California. And I'm attracting the relocation clients in. So then I'm passing all of those referrals to my agents.
Wow, that is absolutely amazing. And that's huge right now for all the viewers and listeners out there is relocation. Quick little story. My wife and my 3-year-old daughter were in California. Now we're in Arizona outside of Scottsdale and Gilbert. And we relocated and saw the opportunity. And we see a lot of people are seeing that opportunity coming out of California, which is amazing. And that's also amazing that you've really done something to be able to generate leads then for your agents. So that way you can be able to serve them, show out for them, which is awesome. So then do you do so if anything comes up as far as transaction wise, the seller wants to sell a home with you, is that just a referral opportunity or how does that work for you?
I refer everything out. Everything. Wow. Yeah, I've gotten to the point, and it's taken me years to get to this point. But I have gotten to the point where I have a lot of investors that continue to buy, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of my investors, when I made that switch, it was a conscious decision of, hey, I'm going to stop selling at this point because I actually moved back to Los Angeles for 6 months so I could build a team for EXP out there. And so that decision was, hey, I'm going to, my partner and I picked a partner, which was an agent on my team in Raleigh. My partner and I are going to represent you, Mr. Investor, for this next transaction. And I did that along the way. And now my investors are going directly to my agents. They're not even coming to me anymore.
It's usually how it works.
It was a perfect little transition, you know?
That's amazing. And by default, right, it's still showing up and serving you at the end of the day. You just have now removed yourself. And I think that for our viewers and listeners out there, you know, a lot of people get caught up in thinking that they want 100% of their own efforts when they can have 10% of 100 or 200 people's efforts and be making 10 times the amount and not even be involved. I mean, you're traveling the world doing everything that you're doing. So congratulations on what you've done and where you've gone from where you were to where you're at now. So I'm going to let Dan go into some of these details so we can talk about the downline, talk about the tools, talk about some of the things that you're doing on the strategic side for our viewers and listeners to take some things today that they can apply to their business. So let's change up the camera angle, and Dan, go ahead and take it away for our mix-up round.
Sounds good. Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you for being here as another EXP agent myself. That's good. So in terms of making the transition from strictly referral to marketing that Airbnb business, what would you say is your like 1, 2, or 3 go-to lead generation activity in order to create that scalability in your business?
Facebook.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah, it's hands down. Like we've done social, we've done our Instagram, we've done LinkedIn, we've done all these other, you know, avenues. We've had a website built, everything. But the number one has been Facebook. And it's really been going into these different community groups, and like there's a Leaving California group, 100,000 people trying to get out of California. So really that's what we focus on. And that's where we're attracting a lot of these leads coming in.
That's awesome. It's super cool. And as you built your EXP business, has it been, you know, how successful have you been about creating, you know, your 7 tiers or your downline to this point?
So I have 6 levels open. You know, I'm not getting paid on my 7th level, but that's okay. I only have like, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 people down there. So totally fine. Still working on, you know, getting to the 40 frontline qualifying agents. Right now I'm at 26. So yeah. And the biggest thing about that is really, I did something a little different back 1 year ago, actually. I was having a little bit of trouble because in 2020, some of our agents didn't sell a lot and they were just kind of a little bit depressed. And so I ended up hiring a real estate coach and trainer. And so I pay her a salary. She works directly for me, but she coaches everyone on my front line. And I went from 7 qualifying agents from October of 2020 to 26 as of now. So it's been not even a year. And she's taken me from 7 to 26 qualifying agents because she's that good. She's helping them, and she's actually holding them accountable and helping them sell more houses.
Wow. That's what you got to do, right? I've taken that on myself with my own clients or my own agents. And I think that's once they see value in what you're doing, the systems that you can open up, that's where the magic starts to happen because they start closing deals and getting checks. So
it's a win-win.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. So let's mix it up a little bit more. In terms of the travels that you've done, you've been everywhere. You know, what's your favorite spot you've ever been in all of the traveling you've ever done?
Love it.
Really hard. So I've been to, I don't know, 44 countries at this point. So, I mean, it kind of depends on what kind of trip, right? Like I loved Bali. And the reason I loved Bali, Indonesia is because when I got home from that trip, I was so thankful for everything. Like I was looking at my shoes and like, oh my God, I have shoes. And like, oh my God, I have like running water. I'm not taking a shower in the creek outside. And I'm not, you know, working on the roads, these asphalt roads barefoot, burning my feet up because I have shoes. And so I think that was to me, that's one of the main trips that I will have memories for life. And I think it like sculpted me as a person as well. And that's the types of vacations or trips that I want to have more of. It's more of those experiences, those memories, and those learning lessons.
It's huge. I think a lot of people need that. That enlightenment is what creates you as a character, or creates your character and builds you as a person. So that's awesome. Let's get into investing, right? Creating a passive Airbnb business is not easy. There's a lot of components, right? There's a lot of trial error systems, property management, accounting, advertising. From 0 to 60, how long did it take you to create that 15 property portfolio, or however many properties it was?
So our first year, we went up to 9 in our first year.
Holy smokes. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, 9 is kind of like a weird number for us. Like back in 2015, we did 9 owner finance deals, and then we did 9, Airbnb properties in 1 year. It's crazy. So the way that you really scale that, I'll tell you how we got started. We started with our personal home because my dad got cancer, and I took him and my family down to Mexico for some alternative cancer treatment because they actually can cure cancer down there. So we took him to Mexico, and we put our house on the market on Airbnb, and it was great. Like, it rented. We made a lot of money on our house. It ended up paying for our condo while we were in Mexico. And so that's what started us. And at the time, we were still flipping houses. So we took a couple of those properties that we were right in the middle of flipping, and we said, okay, we're going to have to really make this nice because we're going to keep this now, and we're going to actually Airbnb it. So we ended up doing cash out refis to pay all of our private money lenders back. We kept the homes. So that was with 2 of the homes. So then we had 3. And then while we were in Mexico, we found a little log cabin, brand new, by the way, little log cabin. It was on Craigslist, and we got that owner to sell that to us on terms. I love terms. So we got that on terms. So then by the time we got home, we had 4 properties from Mexico. And so we got home, and then I think we didn't buy any more properties at that point. That's when we started doing the lease arbitrage. So it's called rental arbitrage. So then we would go to the landlord, and we would let them know, this is our business. We're using this for our clients. La-di-da-di-da. We have a whole script. We teach this. And so that's how we were able to scale and get those 5 more properties, because we were only coming out of pocket about $10,000 per property versus having to buy the property and, refinance the property and all of that. But the out of pocket for getting a lease up or a rental arbitrage unit going is in my market, it's about $10,000 because you've got, a $2,000 rent payment. You've got a $2,000 security deposit, and I can furnish a house with $6,000. And I'm talking 3 bedroom, 2 bath houses. Wow. So that's how we were able to scale.
That's huge. No, it's you're seeing something here that most agents need to figure out, which is the day-to-day transactions and the experience you get in the trenches is just the building block to creating passive income and working in all these different facets of real estate. So you can put together this massive puzzle, and then you don't have to sell real estate anymore. And I think that's, I talked to a lot of seasoned agents. They've been in the business 20, 30, 40 years, and they're burnout. They have to answer their phone 7 days a week. And this entire time they've been in the college of hard knocks real estate, and they haven't picked up on stories like yours, which is, how do I go from being in the trenches and doing transactions to traveling the world and looking at your bank account and saying, this works. So I just wanted everybody to take this as this is a golden example of who you need to model your business after.
Yeah, I think it's a mindset shift, like a lot of us get so wrapped up in, I got to sell a house and get paid. I got to sell a house and get paid. And what people need to just wrap their head around is, how many ways can I get paid? And for how long can I get paid? So it's a total mindset shift. And when I decided to move to California in 2019 to spend those 6 months to build my team there, I literally at that point in time said, I will no longer spend my time on anything that's only going to pay me one time. I'm only going to focus on things that are going to pay me over and over and over again. So that's a mindset shift, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, that's huge. And I think that's where I'm headed with all this, is that when you put the marketing together, things fall apart. Things don't fall apart. Sometimes they do, but things fall together. The more risk you take, the more things that you do outside of your little bubble of comfortable life, right? In order to be able to scale these businesses, it takes risk. It takes getting out there, putting yourself out there, and like you did, cash out refi houses. Let's pay off these hard money loans. Let's get this people into the scheduling of the Airbnb. Let's start to build that gross income. And now you're starting to see that, especially in a hot market, right? You went from California to another hot market because North Carolina has been crazy. So yes, there are some things that aligned perfectly, but I wanted to say that the golden rule here is take risks, high reward. If you just do the same things you're doing every day, this story would have never happened.
Yes, that would have been insane, right?
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Back to you, Norman.
Wow, Dan, I absolutely love that. And that was a lot to unpack there. But I love the fact that, you talked about mind shift, right? And I think that for our viewers and listeners out there, got to think about we're, lack of a better word, programmed. Get a job, do your 9 to 5, come home, rinse and repeat, build your retirement, right? They're not thinking about the fact that there's a passive way of doing this. And I loved your approach. I just want to touch on this really quick, how, there's the model of company culture. The CEO builds a company culture. They're at the forefront of making sure things work where they're supposed to work. But then you took a different approach where you hired a coach, which then you talk to that coach. They understand company culture, where you're at, what you specifically want. And then from there, then they're just basically reiterating that and full-time focusing on that activity instead of you being fragmented and then being over here and being over there and being all over the place. So I really love how you've done that. So you've not only looked on how to scale your business and making sure you get paid not once, but multiple times from your efforts.
Hire the right people.
Yep. Hire the right people, have the right processes. We always talk about standard operating procedures, KPIs, income producing activities. That's on the Liftoff Agent side, who sponsors the show. So that was amazing. I was amazing. But I have a couple last questions before I open the show up to you. And it's on a psychology forefront. And it's going to go a little deep here, because psychology says that when you take a vacation, the psychology of our minds from all the years we've been told, you go on vacation, that's your time to relax. It's your time to just take some time for yourself and then recharge, and then you come back stronger, whatever the case may be. Now you flip that upside down and you're taking the approach of going on vacation and coming back more wealthy than you were before you went. And then you're doing these amazing things where agents out there, you got a house, Airbnb it, and then use that money to buy another property. I mean, just amazing stuff that you're doing. So psychologically, like, how do you do it? Like, do you go on vacation and segment intend like the first couple of days to just take that time for yourself, and then you go and start to work a little bit, or do you balance it? Like, how do you have that sanity so that when you're on vacation, you don't feel like you're just working and you're just working from a different location than maybe like North Carolina?
Great question. So all of these trips I go on, I don't consider them vacations.
Got it.
They are business trips. I'm traveling nonstop business trip, right? Like, I'm going to Tom Ferry next week in Dallas. That's the big summit. That's a business trip. After that, I go to LA. I have a speaking engagement in LA. After that, I go to Miami. I have a speaking engagement in Miami. Now, we just went to Cancun and Tulum. So the first week we were in Cancun, that was a real estate investors retreat. So I was on the entire time. Yeah. I was networking. I was talking to people at Airbnb. I was doing all of that. Well, then I always schedule a few days afterwards because I have to decompress, and it takes me a while to decompress. And part of that is, sleep. I need to sleep for like a day afterwards. And then I can get up and I can start going through all of my notes. And then I can actually start thinking, like, what do I want to take? What are the one or two things that I want to take away? Or the one or two people that are really important to follow up with from this event that I just went to. So I always give myself about 3 days after that, just to kind of let everything sink in. Yeah. But it's funny because I love my phone. And when you love what you do, it's really hard to stop. Like,
yes,
The only way that my boyfriend can get me to actually like really stop is to take me glamping on the other side of the Cabo Baja here, where there's no cell phone service.
Okay.
And so I'm out there, I'll be laying in a hammock and reading a book, and I'm just like, okay, this is great, but it does take me a couple of days to decompress from that.
Wow, I love that. So then, follow-up question to that: do you unplug in a sense where, like, I guess you would say off the grid? Do you ever go off the grid and just like consider it vacation and take that time throughout your year at all?
So on Thursdays, we have date days. And since we are living in Cabo San Lucas right now, I don't think I've said that, but so we're in the Baja. And so if we just go an hour south, then, or not even south, it's like into the desert an hour, then that's called the Baja, and it's very rough and there's no cell phone service. And so we love to go over there on the Can-Ams, the quads and stuff, and just ride, just like go to the beaches and go surfing and do all that. So that's my way of like unplugging. I can't have cell phone service. If I have cell phone service, I can't help myself. Like I'm on my phone. I'm looking. I'm like
satellite phone.
Yeah, I'm like, I've got to message this agent. Like, look at what she just posted. I got to talk to her.
Yeah, I love that. I'm surprised they don't. I mean, come on. I'm surprised. That's the next era is satellite phones. I'm surprised we don't have them yet, but that's a whole nother subject matter. And
I do not need that.
yeah, you don't. We probably don't need that. So that's awesome. And I love side-by-sides. I actually just bought a side-by-side. I pick it up tomorrow. So last couple questions, or last question, I think, and then we'll open the floor up to you is like your team. Like, do you have like buyer specialists, seller specialists, relocation specialists? Do you have people on your team that specifically focus on a specific demographic or niche demographic, or are they kind of just like far, near, in between? How does that work?
So I do not have a sales team. That was another conscious decision that I made, because I was very close to actually starting a sales team. And then I just didn't want to. I'm like, look, if I pass you a referral, I'm going to expect a referral fee. Maybe it's 20%, 25%. That's cool. Right. I'll sign a 5-year, if it's one of my agents that I'm giving one of my investors to, then I'll sign like a 5-year referral agreement for that person, and that agent just continues to pay me.
Nice.
So that's really the way that I do it. And at this point, I think we have like 80-ish agents in the Raleigh area. We've got agents at this point in like 21 states and 4 countries.
Wow.
But I have a large portion of agents in Raleigh. And so, some of those agents do specialize in certain areas. And so those are the people that are getting some of these leads coming in. And I also like to pair them with people who are going to match their personality styles. So I've been learning, there's this technology that my group's been learning for the past 30 days. And it's figuring out what the client's buying behavior is. Mm-hmm. And I match that with the correct selling behavior of one of my agents. And so that's been pretty cool to learn.
Wow, man, psychology is so prevalent. It's so important, because at the end of the day, there's systems, and you just got to know where you want to go, and how you want to get there is going to be for another story. But as long as you have that goal, and then you put together some amazing systems, I have to say, you're probably the most interesting guest we've ever had on the show, and we're up to over 102 episodes. So this is profoundly inspirational from me. Sincerely, I just want to say that, like, you are very inspirational, and it makes me want to push harder myself. I'm just
on that point. Like, we've interviewed people who are just crushing it. Like, very, very wealthy real estate entrepreneurs. And one thing that I see here is that you're like, I'm going to do what I want to do, not what my business is doing. Right? Like, not what my business is going to force me to do. Right? Because I want to be successful, or I want to do this, or I want to do that. You're like, this is what I'm going to do. And then my life is going, and my business is going to mold around that. And I think that's what everybody needs to take away from this, guys.
Amen.
That's key.
Thank you. And I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, for me, it's not about, making millions and millions of dollars and living in a big house with a $500,000. It's not about that for me. I don't even want that. We just bought a residence at sea, which is it's a condo, on a big boat. And we're going to be residents of this boat. There's going to be 600 other residents, and we're going to live on this boat and travel around the world. It's going to take us 3 years to get completely around the world. And so that's what it's about for me. It's like my passion is traveling and helping other people. And so even then, like, this boat's not going to sail until 2024. All right. It's being built right now. But we're going into all of these different countries for 3 to 5 days per location, per stop, per port. Right.
Yeah.
And I'm excited because I want to do EXP presentations in all of these countries. I want to go to them, the Airbnb models in all of these countries. Like, I'm not going to just retire and stop. Like, I love what I do. And I think that's so important. When you love what you do and you love helping people and you're seeing the rewards of all that, I don't want to stop.
No need to stop.
You don't need to stop. I mean, the only suggestion that I have from my side before we close up the show and open up the floor to you here in a second, Amanda, is if you haven't already done this, you definitely need an amazing, badass videographer or photographer and someone that you can hire full time that can follow you with the camera. You need a show. You need to blog what you're doing and put it on YouTube, like a Ryan Serhant, but then day in the life, and show people specifically kind of how you do what you do. Obviously, you can't film every single thing, but just kind of like give someone a point of view into your life behind the scenes where you're completely hands off. So you can get someone else to give a different perspective, and then they can edit it, put it together and put it out there for you, because I think that would be phenomenal. And there's your next stream of revenue off of YouTube ad. It's
so funny you just said that, Norman, because as of yesterday, I just hired Ryan Serhant to help me with all of my videos and get everything ready for this event.
That's huge.
Oh, that's funny.
That's awesome.
You're right on.
Universe, it just kind of came to me. I don't know. But Ryan Serhant. So next time we talk to him, we need to get him on the show. We actually had Matt, the senior realtor and broke agent. They both had them on the show. We had Matt on the show. Matt's actually to be one of our keynotes for a big event that we have coming up. That's for a whole other story. But we're going to end this show because, man, I'm sure we could talk forever. So I'm going to change the camera angle. Amanda, what do you want to leave for our viewers and listeners as we close out here?
So I think the biggest thing for me is you can do whatever you put your mind to. And if you want to live a passive income lifestyle, if you want to travel, if you want to experience freedom, you can do it. But it's just a matter of just putting it out there and thinking about it a lot, right? I think about it a lot. I put everything into the universe. I have my vision board. I say my affirmations, all of that. But it's also taking those action steps and being smart with it and hiring people who's already done it before to teach you how to do it versus stumbling and falling on your face along the way. Like I just hired, like you just said, Norman, I just hired Ryan Serhant because I know I have to get to that level with the vlogs, with the videos and all of that. And he's one of the best in my eyes. So you got to go hire the best and learn from them.
Wow. Amanda, this was a treat. I really appreciate your time. I'm glad we finally nailed you down to get this episode out. I hope all our viewers and listeners took massive value from this episode. So thank you. Dan, thank you so much for co-hosting as always.
Yeah, it was a blessing to meet you and hear your story. And there's a lot of similarities in the things that you say that are goals for everybody. And I think this was a great episode. So thanks for coming on.
Oh, thank you so much. Hopefully I'll see you in Vegas.
Yeah, right. And thanks to all our viewers and listeners, as it is our intention for you to take things from our episodes, apply to your business to have more massive success. And we will see you on the next one.
And made it to the end. Well, thank you so much for watching Real Estate vs. Technology. We hope you found value, especially something you can apply to your real estate business. If you could do us a favor, we would appreciate it. A thumbs up. If you subscribe, hit the notification bell, you'll be notified for new episodes coming out, and comment below. What the heck did you learn? If you want to join our Facebook group page, there's a link right here. And if you want to be featured on Real Estate vs. Technology, send us a DM on our Instagram page. We'll see if we get you on the show. So take care. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.